One of the biggest questions I have is that why do I have so much pens when I can't even write with them all at once? Hey guys, welcome back. Today I actually am gonna do an updated fountain pen collection and maybe talk about also what left, what I've sold, and what I've learned eventually. It I try to I think I'd like to believe that I have been more intentional in purchasing these pens, and I still have a few that I want to sell eventually, but then I am waiting for a nice release to arrive before I start selling them. We're going to go through this in no particular order than just these drawers from top to bottom, and let's do this. This is the top layer, and these are the pens that I have been using regularly. And well, it's the easiest to get. Hi. This is the Platinum Kasumi, and I just shared a quick story on this. And this was one of the brands that I never really looked at because I am not thoroughly a fan of the cigar shaped pens. But when I tried writing with it, that was really one of the smoothest pens I've ever tried. And that kind of made me change my mind and reconsider. Also, I'm not gonna lie, it's green. And when I purchased this from Scribe, it had a good price. It was on sale for that Scribe Writing Month. And I took advantage of it because I wanted to, well, at least my first platinum pen, I got it on a discounted rate, which was really awesome. And I am loving this surprisingly because if you've watched my previous video, this wasn't the pen that I was intending to buy. It was this one. Because again, I was never really exactly following platinum. So this was the first pen that I saw. I mean, I am aware of the 3776, but I wasn't really aware of the line that they created with it. So when I was looking to get this, I saw this in store. And eventually, well, obviously I got both, but I am very happy with these. These are both an extra fine, and surprisingly, I never found the need to have it nib ground, custom nib ground like I usually do, which was really a big consideration that I was game to get it. So before, well, I think a little after a few days of getting this, I was able to sell some of my other blue fountain pens. So mostly those were the Twsbi 580s, which I haven't really been using much because I found it heavy. And this one, surprisingly, for the design and the way it looks, it's lightweight. I don't know if it's just me, but I enjoy both of these pens a lot. July was really July or August. Yeah, I think it was July that really got me into buying fountain pens when I haven't been updating my collection in a few months. So this one I got from Pensachi, and well, it's green. And another thing is that one of the reasons I considered going for a capless was when I got this during the Manila Pen Show a few years back. I enjoyed the writing experience with this, although I have been warned that some find it rather inconvenient to have the clip right here. But then since I have a really bad writing grip, it doesn't really bother me at all. But in case you're interested, this is the size difference for the Vanishing Point and the Decimo. Both are the capless versions. And of course, they're in extra fine as well. And my main consideration in getting both of these was that I liked writing with this, even with its extra fine. And whatever ink I put in doesn't seem to be an issue. Of course, I'm not talking about like shimmer inks and all because I'm not exactly hoarding or using shimmer inks. So I got these two. This is the Pilot Decimo Nagasawa edition or collab. I'm sorry if I'm doing it wrong, but this is the Harbour Mint, and this is the stationery release in Tokyo at that time. So this is the Moss. It's called Moss anyway on Pensachi. And yeah, so I got these, which, well, of course, the original is the Pilot Vanishing Point. This is also an extra fine. And this was the very first retractable fountain pen I've ever used. And I liked it ever since. This is not a new release. I think this was already part of my previous. All of these four are new, but starting from the Vanishing Point, I have talked about this in my previous collection last 2023. So this time, this is the Stealth Green Sailor ProGear Slim with a black nib. And this is one of the pens that I have kept. I have sold a few Sailor ProGears as well because I no longer use them, or I no longer like or am fond of the color as much. But anyway, so I got this. This is from the Goulet pens. I think it's a special edition or limited edition. And yes, moving forward, all of these pens are custom ground to an extra extra fine, because if not, everything I write is just going to be ink blobs. So I have this. And maybe one of the reasons why I never really experienced that rough feedback that usually Sailor gets is that all my pens are ground to an extra extra fine. So I am relatively sure that the Nibsmith made it smoother, even if it wrote like finer, if that makes sense. This is the Sailor Sakura Mochi, and this had a funny story because I liked this a little bit late before after it was released, and I was happy that since I wanted it, I asked Scribe just in case if they still had stock of this, because online it said out of stock, and it was available, and of course I got it. I was hesitant at first because I'm not really, again, a fan of like the gold nib, and surprisingly this was not like screaming gold in your face gold. And when I got this, it's that it feels like a matcha. Well, it's Sakura Mochi, what else was I? But it really is a pretty dull muted green, which really fits my current, I don't know, obsession maybe. I hate that word. This is the Sailor Chestnut. And I got this first before getting the Sakura Mochi. Because when I saw how green this is, it was really perfect. It was one of the few greens that I liked. And it came with a bottle of ink, which eventually I sold because I'm not really going to be able to use that anyway. So, got this. This is in a silver nib. Oh, and if you noticed, most, if not all of my pens are like those flat top things. So that's the silhouette that I honestly prefer over like cigar. I think if I can consider this cigar, maybe, but then it's just the Vanishing Points style. But these two really, I had to think and consider before buying them, but I regret nothing and I'm very happy with these two. This was during another Manila Pen Show. I got this. This is the Aurora. This has a black nib, and I also had this ground to an extra extra fine. And I got this from Muse Pens when they visited from Hong Kong here in Manila. And I'm glad that every time there is a pen show, I am able to get a pen. So I have fond memories of it. And this is what I got. During the last pen show, well, 2025, I wasn't able to go, but I was able to order this pen. And It's really pretty. I did not expect to like it the way I do because, again, it's a gold nib, and I don't really. You're gonna see that I don't have much gold nib fountain pens, and this is one of the prettiest that I have. Well, I wouldn't buy it if I didn't find it pretty to begin with, I think. So this is also ground to an extra extra fine, and I love how smooth this is because this one has a matte body, and I feel bad because I have a little scratch right here that you're gonna see maybe, but I feel so bad that it's there. And this has a smoother body, and that is what I have on my top drawer. This is the second batch of fountain pens on the case. Now, I, this has a really cute and, I don't know, this has a really more sentimental value for it because I got this when I was in Calgary, and I was so happy because at that time, Manila didn't have the sage, and when I went to Reeds, I was so happy to get this. And in fact, this was the only fountain pen I got while I was in Canada, which was kind of shocking. But again, I'm really glad to have a pen during that trip. So this is a black steel nib, and this has been one of my everyday hard working pens, and it's kind of dinged up already, and I don't mind because it's really a pretty green pen. Now, you're I think I had a few Lamy pens before, but I sold all of them already. And I got these two obviously because it's green, and this one was the Harry Potter edition. So I got it in Slytherin, of course, because it was green. And these two are my favorite Lamy pens that I'm glad to have these. I'm glad to be able to have gotten these. I know that I have sold a lot of Twsbi pens, but mostly the ones that I have sold are the 580s because I find it really heavy. This is the green and black Onyx something nib, but also I'd like to consider this as my heavy duty all around fountain pen. And look at that nib, isn't that pretty? So oops, of course. So I have this ink with diamine canal side, and since it's a big bottle, I have been using this as a workhorse, and I'm very happy with it. It writes smoothly, and yes, I had this ground as well, and I just love how it looks. And it's a bit scratched. I haven't used when I got this. It took a while before I had it ground to an EEF because I didn't have any pens to send with it because I've been behaved for quite a few months until July happened, and I got all those four all together. It was really bad. So yeah, this is the Platinum Plaisir, and what I did was that I switched this with the Platinum Preppy. So I have the nib of an O2 instead of an O3. And I'm very happy because obviously I got this because it's green. There's no other reason for it, but it's also very smooth. I'm not quite sure. Hang on. They're the same size. Yeah, they're relatively the same size. So if you're kind of looking at wanting a 3776 without spending too much yet, this might be a good basis for the length because if you're like me who is used to more like using sailors, it's really shorter. So it didn't really take much of a learning curve to write with it, but just in case you're curious, that helps. And obviously, there's no other reason for me to get this except that it's green and it's perfect. This, a lot of you have been asking about this, but this is a pilot Kakuno in the glass jade, something like that. I believe this was a limited edition in China release. Again, This only came with a fine nib, I believe. And so, like the usual, I purchased, what's that? The pilot penmanship in extra fine, and I just switched a couple of nibs around. And yeah. This was also in my last video, in my first video actually, and this is a Pelikan M205. The pens that end in 5 are the ones with silver trims and nibs, and the ones that end with 0 are the gold ones. And I got this in a D stash mainly because it's white. I have never tried Pelikan during that time, and it's juicy. It writes so juicy that I really had to have it ground to an extra, extra fine. Though I haven't been using it for quite some time, I am looking for an ink that's dry enough still that I can use this again in my usual rotation. This was a birthday present last year. I got this. This is the Pelikan M405. Yeah. So again, my problem with this was that this is in M nib, and it took a while before it can get to an EEF. So I haven't been using this, but I really don't see myself maybe selling it just yet, unless another green pen comes in. But this is staying part of my collection for now. This is what I got to replace my Sailor ProGear Fika. And surprisingly, I like the size of this. When I usually go for the slim, and this is the regular, and for reference, this is the size difference. Well, it doesn't really bother me. I never thought it would bother me, but I think it might some people. But I got this in fine. So I got this in extra fine. And then obviously I had it ground again. And I love using this on my traveler's notebook. I also think, oh yeah, when I got this, I sold the innards along, so it was brand new, the innards, when I sold the Fika. So technically, the Fika was like half used and half brand new because I just really wanted the body and kept the innards there. This is another Sailor Pro Gear Slim. This is the Nagasawa. Apparently, I have two Nagasawas. And this is in, I forgot the name, so I'm gonna have to list it somewhere in the description maybe. But this came with a zoom nib, and I had no idea what that was. But some way, somehow, I was able to find someone to swap the nibs. Now I was able to get it ground to another extra, extra fine. Eventually, I am looking to sell this as soon as I find a new release or any good new pens to come. Because if I sold this now and I get the money for it, I'm gonna be buying whatever. And I don't want my fountain pen money to go elsewhere other than fountain pens. This was another ProGear Slim. Why can't I remember the names of these? I'm gonna have to list them down, but this, I got this in Tokyo. Oh, I had someone buy this in Tokyo for me. It was a personal buyer, and this was also ground. I think you're gonna see. I'll. Oops. Okay. Apparently, it's not focusing. But anyway, there is a cat on the nib, and I got this when I was still. Oh boy, I got this when I was still like a fan of blue, and not anymore, obviously. So if you're gonna notice, I have gotten rid of, well, not gotten rid, I sold most of my blue fountain pens, and I feel like my desk was already an invasion of green pens. I don't know how to categorize this. These are like my fun pens, these Kaweco ones. So I got this in Sage, which is really, really cute and pretty. I think all of these now are just purely pretty, aesthetic wise. So I got this in Sage. I got this in Mellow Blue. I'm not sure if that's the correct name. And then this was one of the oldest. See, it's kind of dirty. This is one of the oldest. So this is the white one and the one in macchiato. I had one of this before, but I sold it because it was in gold. That was before I knew that it was available in silver. So obviously, I had to have the one in silver. You're gonna see how dirty this is already, but I'm still keeping it and I like it. But I have to find a way to clean this because it's just stuck in the drawer. I haven't used this in a while. This is the macchiato, and this is one of the colors that I really, really find so pretty. I like neutrals aside from green, but yeah, this is what I have. Lastly, this is the, I forgot the name, Toyo something, but it had like a special edition color. I'm not sure, so I might be wrong too, but I also got this because it was steel. And maybe if the brand releases another pretty green one, I'll consider selling this to replace it. Now, these are my last two Sailor ProGear, and these are the minis. I have no intention of selling either because I got this during the first pen show that I attended, and my dad got these for me. So I am not selling these. These are also in extra fine originally. Oh no, they're in medium fine originally, and I had it ground to an extra extra fine. And I love the classic colors of these. Like I had a phase that I did white and khaki and brown, so obviously this is gonna pair up really nicely. And lastly, these are the ecos that I have decided to keep. You're gonna see I don't have the 580s anymore at all. So this is the Golden Horse Twsbi Eco. This was hard to get. I am glad that I was able to make it during the scribe sale or whenever they sold it, not necessarily a sale, but I was happy that I was able to get this when they sold it at that time. And I love how this is paired with wearing Yule's White Rabbit. It's the most perfect combination I have, and I just love this. I got the cream and rose gold one also, and I may not like gold nibs, but I like rose gold nibs for some weird reason. I just don't like yellow glaring at me. But yes. And lastly, in the collection, this you're gonna see it's so dirty and dinged up. But this is my white and rose gold eco. These are heavy duty pens. I kid you not. And if you wanna travel, if you wanna go out with a tank of ink, this is what you bring. Because definitely before I leave for Canada, I am gonna be bringing this along with me with a tank full of canal side. That is my entire 2025 collection. And I do not regret the pens that I bought that I eventually had to sell because I think those were the pens that showed me what I am particular with when it comes to pens. I apparently didn't like the weight of the Twsbi 580, or I find gold nibs a lot more scratchy than the silver ones. And I guess that's mostly it. I am very happy with my collection. I don't see myself buying any new pens because I said that and I haven't really bought much. So I try to stick with what I say or promise at least. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your collection is like. How, oh yeah, I started in 2015, by the way. And I said that because I wanted to know when you started with your fountain pens. And I thought this was a nice 10-year update. I know my first fountain pen was a Pilot Kakuno. and I didn't know what I was going to do with it because it didn't flex. Because I was really more of a calligrapher more than a fountain pen user. So I thought all those nib things flexed. It's an entirely different story now. And so from one pilot Kakuno, and that was in white and blue, I believe. Because I just really wanted a cheap pen to try out, and then I didn't like it. Fast forward a few more months, I tried out the Twsbi Eco, and that's where every fountain pen problem started. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.